13th, 2019 at 6:31 p.m. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Gamino.
Here.
Moonen.
Present.
Lotecker.
Here.
Beal.
Here.
Chairman Osterman.
Here.
Also present, Gina Gresh, Administrator.
Here.
Town Clerk Dan Green, and DPW Director Joe DiStefano.
All right, thank you. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Item 3 is comments from citizens present. Does anyone wish to make any comments? All right. Item 4 is the consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered in one motion unless a town board member requests that an item be removed from the consent agenda. We've got the April 22nd, 2019 town board meeting minutes, the peddler's permits, and the operator's licenses. Does anyone want anything removed, or is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion. We approve the consent agenda.
My second.
Motion made and seconded, made by Becky, seconded by Linda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 5 is approval of bills.
Okay, the check register presented tonight is for a total of $122,369.79. Top 5 expenditures, we have advanced disposal for April services for $66,277.77. Kunkel Engineering Group, we have worked for Leeds Property, Stormwater, Barnwood, and other miscellaneous engineering for $14,983.75. Premier Building Inspections for April inspection and permits for $14,248.78. E.H. Wolf & Sons for bulk gasoline, $4,801.28. And WCTC for fire department tuitions for $3,957.50. Any questions?
Questions, comments, or is anyone ready to make a motion on the check register?
I'll make a motion to approve the check register dated 4/23/2019 to 5/9/2019.
I'll second.
Motion by Mark Mooney, seconded by Tadia. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6 is announcements, correspondence. Receipt of a notice from the Wisconsin DOR regarding the 2019 personal property aids distribution to the town. The meeting schedule, which I just threw over here. Thank you, Mark. Wednesday, May 15th will be a sanitary district committee meeting at 7:30. That's still on, right, Linda?
Yes.
Everything's good? All right. May 20th, a park committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. at the Richard Young Fire Station. May 27th, the offices will be closed for Memorial Day. May 28th will be the next town board meeting at 6:30. June 10th will be the next meeting after that at 6:30 here at the town hall. June 13th will be a planning commission meeting at 6:30. June 17th will be the park committee meeting at 6:30. And then probably June 19th will be the next sanitary district meeting at 7:30. And then June 24th will be the next board meeting after that. All right, Sussex Outreach Services sent a thank you letter for the Easter extravaganza of food donations. New Berlin sent a notice to participate in the cooperative plan with the town of Brookfield. We got a thank you letter from the Sussex Sled Bugs and a letter from the VFW regarding the 2019 Memorial Day Parade. Does anyone else have any other announcements or correspondence to note?
Yes, I received an email from one of our town residents talking about, the intersection on Hillside and County Q. He was concerned because the trucks were going through the subdivision, and I checked into it. I gave Joe a call, and he was saying that it was because they're routed through the subdivision, which normally wouldn't happen, is because there was a trailer that was dislodged. It took them a couple hours to do that, and that's why they had to go through the subdivision. So after talking to Joe, I just emailed him back and told him what I knew on my end. And of course, he would like, we talked before about having the trucking entrance different than on Hillside coming off of North. However, because of the wetlands over there, and there'd be a bridge, and I don't think that would happen. And I think it's a ways down the road for they do something with that corner. Of course, it's up to the Wisconsin, the DOT, and as well as probably Washington County. And we, as a board and as a town, cannot do anything with that. So I feel helpless, but there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one summer, really, maybe in the fall, and next year 164 will be done, and things will be back to normal.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
And there is that proposed, which I'll talk about later, but we can get it on right now, widening and paving of
Yes.
that intersection. And that Washington County said, let her rip. I said, I like it. They're working, I talked to Ryan from the DOT, just it's unfortunately not that easy to just go there, but they're gonna do it all under their state DOT contract, so it would cost the town nothing, and that'd be kind of nice. So, and I did reach out with their resident on the corner, she was all for it, so everything.
And I did reach back out to this resident and told him that what you said, the widening, so
Yeah.
it would be a little easier on the corner.
Yeah, it should be.
But they're still concerned about the J braking and,
Yeah, I mean, the traffic, hopefully, we're nothing we can do about that, but hopefully,
Hopefully
through
with-
this summer, it's gonna be a little hectic and
Yeah.
get back to normal.
okay, I just
I
wanted to.
have a follow-up question on that. Do you know, because we've obviously heard other concerns about that intersection,
Yeah.
living close by it, it's an intersection that concerns me as well. And they're currently only allowing a right turn, whether off of Hillside, whether it's northbound or southbound off Hillside. Is that going to go away after the 164 construction, or are they going to keep that as only right
It's a
turns?
temporary
Okay.
construction.
I was
Very
hopeful it was-
preliminary, but we do have talks with the roundabout that it's
Yeah.
there, and I think that ball is actually just starting to get pushed, but
Okay.
at least that's going in the right direction.
And
I
who's-
wondered if this was a precursor to
I
that.
don't think it has, I think it's total coincidence that this
Okay.
all is happening at the same time, but Washington County is getting that.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you. I appreciate your,
Yeah.
let me talk to you off hours.
Any other announcements or correspondence from anyone? All right, item 7 is department reports. We have the administrator report.
All right, first thing, Administrator Bookman just texted she's running late, so she'll be on her way shortly. She'll be here in about 15 minutes. She also received a conference scholarship to the the Municipal Treasurers of Wisconsin Association for $130. That can be applied to one of their 2-day conferences, so congrats to Amy on that. Also, we've been cleaning up vendor accounts. During the interim period, Fire Captain Michelle Drager was helping me figure out the Verizon bills. She was able to get our accounts to tax exempt and was able to get us $265 in taxes refunded on our phone bill for that. So that was good. So thank you to Michelle for that. Also, new Deputy Clerk Natasha John. She's been reviewing all of our other accounts, our utilities, Spectrum, AT&T, U.S. Cellular. She did call Spectrum, and our representative happens to be a town resident, and he went and checked our services and said he can save us $40 a month on our town hall service, so she got some savings there. She's also been able to combine the We Energy's 18 separate invoiced accounts into one invoice with one bill and one payment, so that makes reconciliation easier for Amy every month. She's also working with E.H. Wolf & Sons, who delivers our fuel. Currently, we have a net term of 10 days to make a payment, but they have on their invoice, if you can pay within those 10 days, you get a nice 2% discount. So she said we can take advantage of it. They're going to extend our terms to 21 days, and that'll save us in a calendar year about $1,200. So we can save at least $500 or $600 more this year. And combo that with the state fuel tax that the treasurer's been applying for, that's another $1,000. So we're starting to see some savings come back. Also, yeah, it's pretty nice. Also, you have the April ACH auto pay list summary for your information. And Treasurer Bookman and I are already working on the 2020 budget. I have a tentative budget workshop schedule started, but I haven't released it yet. I just wanted to know if the board wanted any changes to like what we did last year, keep it the same, which was 5 workshops on Mondays. And if you have any suggestions on doing things different or better, just let us know.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Any questions for Gina? Thank you, Gina. Parks Department report.
Well, I think parks have been really busy. This month, they've been doing sport field maintenance daily on the baseball fields and added a second set of bases to Fred Keller Field.
Seasonal mowing operations have started in all the parks and in open green space turf areas. They have been fixing plow damage in the parking lots and along roadways. They've started performing weed control programs in the parks and municipal grounds this week, cleaning up planting beds throughout the park systems. Big news out of parks right now, planning and preparing for the upcoming Lisbon Community Festival, which will be June 22nd from 11 a.m. until 4 with food and beer and games for kids. Parks held interviews and filled 3 seasonal park staff positions, have been preparing training materials for the new seasonal park staff on safety procedures and equipment handling, worked on water system problems with fountains, bubblers, hydrants in Community Park, and took delivery of the portalet facilities and put them into service for the 2019 season throughout the parks and compost site.
Any questions for Tadia? Thank you, Tadia. Public Works Department report.
This is my timer. All right, so April was interesting. Wish it was a little warmer, obviously, but we kind of did our winter end projects, took down snow fence, pulled all the posts, had some salt delivered that finished out our fill for the season. We did the temporary weight limits, obviously, those were taken down in April. Beginning of the month, we still had all our plows, sanders, everything on. We pulled them off and kept 3 rolling for these 3 April snow events, which fortunately in Lisbon we didn't have to go up, so we lucked out there. Prepped the compost site for its opening on April 6th. That turned out good. Did some grading for the driveways and all that. Tree work, typical stuff here. But tree work, we had an election in April that we did the voting equipment up and down. Did a driveway culvert in Mountain Shadows. And then our big thing towards the end of the month was brush pickup. So that kept us pretty busy through the end of the month. One thing, Joe, I don't know if you touched on this last month, but I just talked to Mark a little bit about it, bring it up again. But on a repair on one of our internationals, kind of proud of this moment. So it had the truck was giving us a little grief through the winter. And it wore through this front cover because it's an international and has issues. But anyways, so the cover itself was $1,800 if you had to go to dealer get new. There were used ones out there for maybe $300 to $400. But we ended up, the guys ripped it off, a day's worth of work to take it off. Had a friend of mine machine a piece. Had a guy in town that could weld it up for us. This whole thing cost $20 and 2 days of work to put it on. So. And I mean, it's working like a champ.
Wonderful.
So it's just aluminum. It could be fixed. We just to spend that kind of money is not something I'm excited about.
What year is that too?
Truck?
Yes.
A 12.
12. How many miles are on it? Just curious.
Not enough. 25,000 area.
Wow.
Don't worry. Another meeting we'll have a nice conversation about internationals, but we won't get into that today.
Oh, okay.
So don't worry about that. But I got a nice thing I'm putting together for you guys to talk, and we'll see what we want to do. But that was just. The guys did an awesome job, and we saved a lot of
wonderful.
money. And I think it's pretty cool because we're willing to. A lot of places would just send it away and get it fixed, and we're willing to tackle stuff like that. So, kind of cool. But then Gene and I met with the Village of Sussex. We just kind of got the ball rolling with this Maple Avenue project, which majority of the work will happen next year. And there's something on the agenda we'll talk about later about that. Mitch and I went over crack filling and paving projects and whatnot. We'll talk a little more about paving later. Crack filling is actually open right now for bids. The bid opening will be Thursday here, so we'll find out who has that, and that'll be on the next agenda. We did the tire roundup and this recycling event, which you guys heard about, went really well in April. And then Waukesha County did a cool thing. They had a meeting for the first time maybe ever in a long time where they brought all the department heads in from all the basically the DPWs of Waukesha County from all the municipalities and had a cool meeting and just an hour quickie touched on a lot of stuff like the deer actually that's going to come up next time and there's a lot of neat little stuff that you didn't have a place to go talk to and we're doing this now. They might do them quarterly, so kind of a nice thing that we're going to do with the county just to bounce things off other people. So and as usual I work with you guys here and there. So, and then just a current note, we talked about Hillside and Q, I had that on there, but another thing is River Glen, which is Senate Court and Senate over there in between Norwalk and Park River. the end of this week, that'll start getting some prep work for the second lift. And they'll be putting the second lift of asphalt in that Crest subdivision tentatively next week. So that'll be nice. That one popped pretty nice, and try to get these second lifts of asphalt done this year. We got a few other ones that I want to get buttoned up before the roads get too bad. So that's all I got for now.
Any questions for Joe?
Another great job.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to give everybody an update on the plowing for the winter. We had, and I'll put an asterisk by one complaint all winter for plowing.
Wow.
So, and Joe was able to suffice the person who reported to us their, I don't even want to call it a complaint, but kudos to the plowing crew and you as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. All right. Next, we have the treasurer's quarterly report. Does anyone have any questions?
She's on her way.
If you do, hold them off. She'll be here soon.
Yeah, yep.
All right. Item 8, supervisor reports. Does anybody have anything to report this time?
I will after Wednesday night.
Yes, you will.
Yes, I will. It's going to be another long night.
Can't wait.
Me either.
Item 9, unfinished business. A, discussion and necessary action on the town's health insurance opt-out benefit payment.
Okay, about a month ago, we started talking about this, and the board asked me to do some research on what other municipalities do. Long story short, a lot of them are in that state group health insurance plan, so they can't allow anything like that. Village of Dousman does offer $250 per month for an opt-out plan, and the city of Muskego offers $400 per month for a family and $150 per month for a single plan. We also did discuss eliminating the dental opt-out payment, which is $25. That I do agree with. And I would recommend that the board either simplify the benefit, or what we can talk about, what you have before you is this handout I passed out at the beginning of the meeting. I was running some numbers over the weekend and today, and worst case scenario, I wanted to see if everybody took the insurance, what the difference would be, and it's a wash. So the money we're paying out for opt-out payments versus if everybody took the insurance, it's pretty much the same. So everybody really is receiving the same benefit whether you're on the insurance or not. So after I ran that, I think it's pretty fair. So I want to see what you guys think.
You mean the way it is right now? You're saying?
Right.
The way to the
What we're saving by paying the opt-out payments would almost be the same amount of money as what we would be spending if they all were on insurance.
And again, that is for a single?
Well, it depends on the person, which they're listed here by employee number.
Right.
So it depends on their age, family, child, children. Just depends. But this is as it is right now. I mean, this could change. We have some retirements coming up in the next couple of years, maybe. So that changes things too. But
If we're not paying out any more than we would be if we didn't offer it, then there would be no benefit for us to offer it, though.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because there's a good chance, I mean, looking just from the town's perspective now, if we didn't offer opt-outs at all, there's still gonna be people who don't take it, and thus that's the money we would then save.
right.
So right now, if we're not saving any money, period, by offering the opt-outs, they're not doing what they're intended to do.
And I think that leaves us with the risk of not having as healthy of a workforce, in addition to not saving any money.
So where do we go?
I was going to suggest just simplifying it. You could take the insurance, whether it's single or family, you would get, for example, $250 per month or $3,000 per year. I also would suggest it starts next year, January 1st, 2020, just to give people time to adjust and plan for any changes.
Are you saying that $250 is for a family and a single person?
Yep, wouldn't matter if you take the insurance or not.
I would like to see it on a single and a family basis.
Okay.
Myself, I would like to see it lower for the family, because now we pay like.
But she's saying $250, period. You take the insurance, you don't get anything. So it doesn't matter if you took it and your wife didn't. It's, you don't get anything done. Like right now, if the husband takes it and the wife doesn't, we have a payout.
Right.
So this would be if the employee does not take health insurance, you get a $250 payout, period. doesn't matter if you have a spouse or a child or anything else. It's just, this is it.
So what this does, it essentially eliminates the spouse payment of $225, and then I just upped it to $250.
I think that's a lot.
So well,
Myself, 250.
that's why we're talking about it.
I like to see it a little lower.
Like what kind of number?
Because right now, for a single, it's, if I remember correctly, it's 250 and 450, something like that. Is that correct?
It's $225 a piece, isn't
It's
it?
$225 for the employee, and then another $225 for the spouse.
Right.
So it's $500. Or $450 plus another $25 for dental, so you
Yeah.
can get up to $500.
Right.
So in other words, right now it's 225, because the spouse, I think, should be eliminated.
That's each.
Each.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would think, I would be in favor of eliminating the spouse. So then we're down to 225.
Right.
So why are we going with 250 if it's a wash?
It was just kind of an average of the amounts I got from everybody when I talked to everybody.
Yeah.
And-
I think it should be lower.
And we're eliminating the other benefit of vision, or
Dental.
dental.
Correct.
So it's zero now for dental.
Yeah.
But it's putting us a little bit in line. I mean, nobody else offered dental, and we're still at the high end. If only 2 municipalities got back to us that do it, we would be in line with the lower of the 2 that do it, but others don't do it. So I still think it's an enormous amount of money for, I get it that it won't be a wash anymore for what we're paying, but here I think we hurt ourselves by paying an opt-out that equaled what we saved. So I think, and not getting as healthy employees as I think you have when employees have health insurance. And I think to opt out is a detriment to the town, even if it's a short-term cost savings, potentially. That's just my view. I
That's
understand
assuming they don't
others.
have health insurance, though.
That is, and if
This
they
was-
do have health insurance, then they're getting it somewhere else from another benefit, or they've decided the cost of what they're purchasing privately is less than what we're paying, so why are we subsidizing that? I get a token, I still am on board with a token, and I think that I can understand that, rather than being in the camp of those who don't offer it, regardless of why they don't, whether they can't or they don't want to. But I still think this is too high. There's no doubt in my mind that I don't think it should be paid for families or spouses. I think it should just be the employee is in or the employee is out. There is a set amount, but I do agree with Linda that amount was too high.
This amount, the $250 or the,
I still feel like the 250 is too high. I think it's more reasonable than where we were, but I'd like to see a lower number for the opt-out. I
what
think
number are you looking?
I was in the 150 range. I could compromise maybe at 200 and feel okay about it and feel like there's a savings being gained there. But I guess I feel like 250 is just too high.
In other words, the single person who opts out is getting more money then. Do I understand that correctly? Because they go from 225 to 250.
No, it was just if you didn't take the insurance, the way Gina proposed it, was just $250.
I know
Didn't matter
that.
how many.
But in the system we got now,
She's talking about
Well, dental
now.
and health insurance was $250.
Right. And there's only one person that has the single that opts out.
I just think, I think it should be more in the line of, if we're going to do it, no more than 200, myself.
You're at 200? Okay.
Can I say anything?
We should get a savings on it.
Sure.
I'm all for benefiting the employee. I think we should definitely drop the spouse, because we benefit the employee, and then they have the obligation or choice to extend their benefit to their family. That's their choice. I guess, and I'm good at 250, but I see the 200. I don't think we should be looking at it as saving on our employees, because obviously they're the most important thing we have in the town. And I mean, if it's a small token we can extend to them, I'd still stay at the 250.
Becky?
Excuse me. I agree about the spouses. I didn't know we were doing that. I didn't think that was ever the intention, but I would go with 250. I think that's fair.
But it's a wash. It's a wash, isn't it?
Not at 250.
Not at 250.
This was at the 500 it was a wash, which technically that one, however you want to look at it,
Yeah, I know.
never, whether they got approved or didn't, whatever, but
Okay.
go on up if you want to let Joe talk.
just from what TD has said, my guys all, nobody's gambling and not taking it and just taking the money and running. They are all just going with their spouse's insurance. It maybe made a little more sense money-wise, and then they get it's a benefit, right? I mean, to me, it's like they look at it as, hey, it's a little extra scratch. I get it. And it sounds like the $500 boat, is long down the river. I get that. But, I mean, just for my guys' sake, I don't take it. But, morale, I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. But, you guys squash this, and all of a sudden, they're not going to, quit or anything. Don't get me wrong. But, it's stories you hear at the lunchroom. It's stuff that they've had when they got here, and now they don't have it. And $250, if that's fair, that's something. And some guys might actually, it sounds like rumors, come back on the insurance once they weigh it all out, which is fine, But that might happen with an employee or two, possibly, or all three. I don't know. But just my 2 cents. You guys got to do what you got to do, but just so you know. And they're not mad and anything, but they like that, and now they hear this, and everybody you hear the talking, but nobody's totally freaking out.
Well, of course, I think any employee would like to get as much money as they can.
Correct.
On a bonus.
I'm just sticking up for my guys because they're watching me tonight, so I got to be, show my face a little bit. So, other nights I'd be like, yeah, whatever. They just another, but tonight,
But again, how many municipalities don't do that, Gina?
Well, I didn't get a full response from all 36 of them,
I guess
but it's
How many responses did you get again?
6 or 7.
Okay, of
and
the
the only
6
2 were this Muskego and Dousman.
Did I not, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I just heard this through grapevine, that the ones that were not given a benefit are on the state plan? And
Correct,
there was something,
right.
so.
And then they can't.
They can't
Right,
do
they
it.
can't. So, I mean, we got, they cannot. There's not that they're not doing it because they don't want to. They cannot.
But if they're doing something else,
Yeah.
I don't know that because they didn't offer that information to me.
I just
Thank you.
I just
I
think-
just wanted
thank
to-
you.
Yeah, it's on there.
And Joe, can I just say, I would like to see that if people are considering coming back on the insurance, and I understand the cost if premiums go up and the cost of being, but I too want to benefit employees, and I too feel like insurance is the benefit, as opposed to a salary increase that wasn't intended, that comes out as a bonus, and I would rather see those employees come back on and pay that premium and know they have the benefit of the good health care that we have decided to provide for employees because we care about them being on health care than pay it. So if that is the trade-off, I would rather pay for their health care and health insurance in that sense. Just for me, that's...
I just wanted to throw something.
Would anybody compromise then at 225? Just a thought.
what's the realization of $25 and two people are
We just have to
taking it
set
right
a precedence again.
We
Just
still got
a,
one more person to hear from.
yes, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
We are, right now, if employees were to go back on, we're cost neutral. From a budgeting perspective, they go on insurance or off the insurance. It's cost neutral
Yeah.
at this point. I can tell you that was never the intention of when this was started. I'm the only person left from when this started. Becky was treasurer at the time, but, we literally, that was never the intention. It wasn't flat out. It was the intention to save the town money. If we could offer an incentive for people to go on their spouse's insurance, that's what it was. And that actually saved at that point, that did save the employee because they got an extra benefit from us. They went on someone else's insurance, so they got the benefit of the money. We got the benefit of not having to pay the extra amount. Somewhere along the line, something happened, and we're paying out more than we should be, I believe. So that's why we're here tonight. The difference between 200 and 250, granted that's at 225. Even at 250, we're saving half.
Yeah.
So, I have no issue with 250, to be quite honest with you. If everyone wants to go and talk and compromise down to 225, I won't have an issue with 225 either. But I don't want to debate it for 3 hours either. So, I guess two sides that are at 250, we got 250 and we've got 200. Can you see compromising at 225?
See, and I was compromising to come up to 200. Let's just be clear. I would rather
You were
have
at
them on the
150,
insurance,
right.
and I felt like 200 even was high. Just want that out there.
Linda makes a valid point. We're, to come across this, it sends a message if you're a 3-2 vote or a 5-0 vote coming out of this. Quite frankly, it does. Do we want to look at this and say, hey, at 225, we didn't all get what we wanted, but we can be happy with it?
I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm willing to compromise.
Linda?
And
I would go 225 if it's a good compromise.
Becky?
I would go at 250. I don't like taking benefits away from employees. We don't have enough of them to, I just don't like that.
What
Are
did
we
it start?
saving money if we give them $250?
Still, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
just
are
by-
still saving money.
Oh, yeah.
How much are we saving?
Let's see here, $19,200.
But we're still comparing this to what we're saving versus a system that shouldn't have been the way that it was.
And when it started
But a
out,
lot-
it was
right.
much closer to this than
Right.
it was, you know. It changed because as health insurance went up, things changed. Well, then, for some reason, one just kept going up and the other
Right.
didn't. And
What did it start out at?
I'd have to find the document. Unless Gina's got it,
We
but
found two different ones. That's
Yeah.
what started this. We had new employees coming and,
I believe the initial was around 350. If you opted out of everything, it was between 300 and 350, I believe, is where it was. And over time, I know it got approved one other time and was up, but then the last one, I don't know how that ever happened. But that was in our dark times of 2015.
yeah.
So
I'm gonna stay at $250. I think we're already taking away up to $1,200 roughly from a person who would have already been getting this benefit. So I mean, we're already saving $1,200 on that employee already. I mean, I hate that we use the word saving when we talk about our employee benefit package, but
well, but I mean, in essence, we have a responsibility to the taxpayers,
We do.
and we have a responsibility to our employees. So it's a matter of balancing them both.
we do. But I think this is not a matter of dollars. It's not a large dollar item, but I think it's a huge employee morale impactor, which could cost us more money in other areas. So
So it's $300 a year.
I feel like we realized we made a mistake and some people got a benefit that they probably shouldn't have gotten. And now to say therefore they're now entitled to continue that benefit, or we feel bad to reduce it to what it should have been if it had been caught before. To me, that doesn't strike that as taking away a benefit, rather rectifying a mistake where they got a benefit that they shouldn't have.
We're talking about $300 a year. That's what we're talking about. $25, $300 a year. How many people are on the opt-out?
8.
It's $2,400. Does that change anyone's mind? Does that keep it solid? You're still at 225?
I'd go
Most.
225. I would prefer lower, but I think
I would
225
like
is
to
a compromise.
At 225, I feel like I've given a lot on that. Because that's not where I want to be.
Before we were at, well, we don't know. I mean, it was different on each person because some of them were family, some of them weren't.
I can do it right now. Oops. Must have did that. So we're looking at 19,200 for opt-out payments versus what do I have? $24,000.
At the 225.
Mm-hmm.
It's a $5,000.
Yeah. I still recommend the 250.
Becky, you're still at 250?
Yep.
Mark, you're at 250? Everybody else is solid at 225. All right.
I'll make a motion, see if it sticks. I'll make a motion to approve the health insurance opt-out payment policy at a monetary value of $250 per month for single or family. And I recommend that take effect January 1st, 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Becky. Any other discussion? No? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
We're on to item 10 now. I'm going to ask that we have most people in the room, in fact, almost everyone in the room is here for item G. So I'm going to move item G up. And we go 10G, discussion and necessary action on the recommendations from the Plan Commission for the following items. Item 1, an ordinance 06-19, ordinance establishing plan unit development overlay zoning classification of property located along Hillside Road in the town of Lisbon, tax key LSBT 0205.998, LSBT 0208.987, and LSBT 0205.994 for the Newman Developments, Inc. and recommendation to Waukesha County are the same. All right, so we had a meeting here at 5:15-ish, 5:20, so I was late from the train. And we were trying to iron this stuff out tonight. I have not had a chance to talk to anyone from Newman tonight. We have questions. And I'm going to recommend to the board that we postpone this until the next meeting. It'll give us some time to sit down and talk with Newman. We've got our planner working on a few other things. What this is coming down to is we have purchased sewer capacity for Area 1, which this development is in. Now we've got the land that is west of 164 and then the east side, which is this development. We have a sewer pipe down on basically Good Hope Road. So we have to determine, it's in our ordinance that if this area is in this sewer area, which it is, that it should be developed on sewer. Now, in Newman Development's defense here, this wasn't brought up until, I don't know, probably 3 weeks ago. So, not ideal by any means, and that is on us. But there's also been some information in the board agreement that denotes what we can develop this on density-wise. The density in the border agreement does state that this area shall be developed in 1 acre density. The Newman development does meet that density. The way it was described to me is back 18, 19 years ago, it was more affordable to develop on sewer, and thus that's what the thought was back when the border agreement was done, that this was a feasible thing. Well, construction costs have gone through the roof. I can't tell you I know what those all are. I believe they could probably list that out to us. But right now, we need to do some more talking, and I don't think this is ready at this point. Now, the Plan Commission did recommend approval contingent on the sewer issue, but I just don't think we have enough information to make a solid decision at the moment.
Just for curiosity, how many other houses do we take in if it goes to sewer?
Well, technically, this area already is in the sanitary district.
I know, but because it
Right.
goes back, if it's there, they have to hook up. So
Well, it
that's.
depends what we decide to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not because, I mean, Howard Lane technically has been in the sanitary sewer district for a long
But
time.
yeah, where's it coming into? If it comes past a house, they have a year to hook up. So.
If we decide that's what we want to do.
Exactly.
Right, and right now, I think there'd be, the church is there, the stables, I mean, it's already at Howard. You know, none of them
Right.
are hooked up, so it was
Right.
passed, I believe the board at the time had passed that they would hook up upon request. It wasn't that they were required, so I mean, that was already done years ago.
Well, how about Howard Lane then?
That's what was set up as on request. I'm fairly certain about that. We'd have to go back and look, but I'm fairly certain that's what that was.
I'd like to see the plans.
Right, but
Obviously,
it's
there's-
actually, it's to the west of Howard Lane right now. It's not on Howard Lane. It's at the intersection there, and actually crosses the road at one point, so. There's questions.
Yeah, lots of questions. Okay.
So I don't know, does anyone have any questions they want to ask, or?
So this is not considered a PUD though?
Yes, it is.
It is considered a PUD.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, yeah.
But if it's 1 acre, because I looked on there and there's like half-acre lots.
Not half acre, no, there's no half acre on there. It's
thought
30,000
there
square
was.
feet.
Yeah.
Right, it's 30,000 square feet, and the density, the overall density is 1 acre, because it's considered a
Density.
conservation
Right,
subdivision.
it's a different- so
And there's
what-
back and forth of whether this meets what people think is the criteria of conservation subdivision. There's so many of these.
So it's
I
like
mean,
2/3 of an acre, thereabouts, whatever.
30,000 square feet.
Right,
Yeah, it's
right.
just under, it's like 7/10 of an acre.
43,000 square feet is an acre.
Okay, divided by 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be 0.7, yeah.
0.7, I thought it was more like 30,000 square feet would be. Okay.
It's the same as what the Miller development was, the Miller Marriott. Very similar. Some of those are 30, some of them are 32, but I mean, it's
Right.
very similar. I think all of these are pretty much 30.
Right. Okay.
So,
Okay.
does anyone else have any? I'll move that we pull.
So what is the
You'd have to, I'll let you talk if you want to come up and just step up. State your name and address. If you want to or no.
My name is Steve DeClean, and I'm from Newman Developments. So what is the timing of future town meetings?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. And then can we get a copy of, was there a letter sent? Well, did you receive a letter from Sussex that kind of brought this issue to light?
I don't know if it was a letter or a meeting. An email?
I think
Email or
maybe
phone
it was
call?
an email or a phone call, one of the two. I
Sure.
can check through my emails and see, but
I think it started with a phone call from Casey.
To be
Yeah.
honest, Steve, this is going to be more on the town than the village at this point. I don't believe the village is going to enforce that we have to put sewer there.
Okay,
I mean, that's as honest as it gets. I don't think they're going to fight that.
okay,
I think this is going to be more on the town of Lisbon to determine what
Okay.
happens here.
okay.
So I can inform you, we literally got done with that meeting. It was 6:15, and if you had been here, I would have talked to you ahead of time, but
Okay.
there wasn't,
I
this is the
guess
first
I
we're
would just like.
this is the first we're chatting since that meeting, so.
So I do want to say that, we did close on the property.
Okay.
I did call Dan Lindstrom, and I specifically asked this question. I said, is anybody going to be looking for that? And given the fact that there is no water, and the sewer is quite a ways down, and there was no, it really wasn't, we battled this on the other side of the highway, as everybody knows, for a year and a half. So I was a little blindsided by it, so I'm hoping we can resolve it quickly. We still would like to get the subdivision on this year. And the way subdivision development's been working lately with the weather, if I'm not grading in July, I can't get the roads in. I mean, like,
Well, our target is going to be to finalize this, come to a conclusion one way or another, hopefully in 2 weeks. Obviously,
Okay.
the board's got to have the information to make that decision.
thanks, Joe.
I mean, you've gone through the plan commission already, so that's not going to be that kind of delay, but we couldn't find a reasonable way to do this any quicker. I mean, we need to work through this. The board needs to get the right information, and the meeting just happened at 5:15 to 6:15 today, so.
Great.
And we put that together as fast as possible, to be honest.
Okay.
A lot of doodle polls went out trying to get people together on that one.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks. Anybody else? I'm going to allow you to speak if you want to speak. State your name and address.
Yep. Joanne Branchen, N74 W25134 Howard Lane. We're directly behind the proposed development. The question that we wanted to know was if there is going to be sewer on this development, because are they going to require Howard Lane to hook up to the sewer?
Sure, and that's what Linda was just talking about.
We need
That's
to know
a
where
new
it's
concern
coming.
that we have with this whole development. There's a lot of concerns that we have with this whole development, but that would be approached in 2 weeks.
Technically, the sewer is already there, and I
Correct.
believe it was a board decision, and I'll have to find this. This is me remembering 15 years ago now. And it actually was done before I was on the board. I believe there was a decision made that Howard Lane would not have to hook up at that time unless it was requested. Got to find that, don't know. Jane Stadler is probably the only one that's going to remember, so I'm going to have to talk to her. But, now, that doesn't mean that will always be that way, but that's the decision that was made at the time, okay? Now, the capacity we have in this area, I believe, would be used up on the development, so that's all got to be considered too.
So that would be something that we would look at in 2
Yeah.
weeks when we,
I don't know that that's going to be a decision that would have to be a separate agenda item at that point.
as far as Howard Lane getting.
If that were, yeah, and I think that's a ways off,
But
to
if
be
it-
honest with you.
But if it's approved for this or if it is required of this development to be in sewer,
That doesn't automatically
That
require
doesn't-
you to hook up.
okay.
That's something that this board will have to decide on, and we will make sure it's very clear. I
Okay.
promise you that.
Okay. And then the other issues that we were talking.
We've got a letter from Sherry Howard.
Yeah, we've got a couple things about, the Department of National Resources and the runoff, the stormwater detention ponds. There are several things that we have concerns with that we didn't really, weren't too clear on that from what was stated previously. And we also had a question about the actual, because the Planning Commission had requested a new, kind of something, an updated plan, and the only thing that was updated was a walking path. So the concerns that we made with that were not addressed. The plan was not altered like many of the Planning Commission board members were wanting to see. They were saying they wanted to see something a little bit different. And we didn't see that. So that was another concern that we had along with
Okay.
the other comments. So that'll be in 2 weeks then?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thanks. I had, talking to her before the meeting, that more than likely this was gonna be postponed, so that's why I told her if it came to it, I'd allow her to speak at this time. That's a little out of order, but
Thank you.
it's all good.
Appreciate that.
All right. Anybody else? All right, I'll move that we postpone ordinance 06-19 until the next board meeting. Is there a second? Second by Mark. No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is Newman Developments, Inc. on behalf of Bowen Global Investments, Inc. for the property located at North 56 West 27476 Lisbon Road, tax key LSBT 0264.998, known as the Stoltz property for the following items. Resolution 05-19, a Town of Lisbon Land Use Map Amendment Approval and Recommendation to Waukesha County the same. Item 2, which will be ordinance 09-19, an ordinance rezoning LSBT 0264.998, known as the Stoltz property from A10 Agricultural District to R1 Suburban Single Family Residential District in the Town of Lisbon, Waukesha County, Wisconsin, a recommendation to Waukesha County the same. And item 3, which is ordinance 11-19, an ordinance establishing a plan unit development overlay zoning classification for LSBT 0264.998, known as the Stoltz property, and recommendation to Waukesha County the same. I believe we recommended all 3 of these 6-0. James Stadler did abstain from this one, being she lives there. Any questions, comments? We would have to take each one of these items on a separate approval. Any questions or comments from anyone on this? I'll move that we approve resolution 05-19. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Tadia. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I will recommend that we approve ordinance 09-19.
A second.
Second by Tadia. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 3 is, or excuse me, ordinance 11-19. I move that we approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Tadia. Any other discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right. Give me a call tomorrow. All right. Thanks. All right. We'll just go right down to item 3 then, it's in G anyway. So ordinance 10-19, and ordinance rezoning tax key LSBT 0241.999 from agricultural district to M2 general industrial district to allow industrial uses, Town of Lisbon, for the property located at Town of Lisbon, located North 63 West 22039 County Road F, tax key LSBT 0241.999, known as the Leeds property, and recommendation to Waukesha County the same. This was the simplest one of the night in the Plan Commission meeting, other than adjourning. Was 7-0 recommendation on this. Anybody have any questions on this? Move that we approve ordinance 10-19. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Tadia. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Excellent. Jeez. All right. 10A, discussion and necessary action to authorize a traffic improvement analysis for the Leeds property, TID number 1. So we have to do a traffic analysis study for the Leeds property so that Waukesha County will give us access. This is something we have done already on Town Line Road. Unfortunately, this isn't what we're looking at this time. So this would be another study for that. Do you have the total, what it was, 20? I believe the estimate was between 15 and 25.
Really, for a study?
The last one was 22, I think, when it was all said and done. Waukesha County requires a specific study.
Would that be before Main Street there or Town
F.
Line?
It's Main Street F.
Will we have to do it again for Town Line Road?
Most likely. There's been one done already for the Viridian development, but I'm sure they're gonna request another one, because it all depends when it was done. We may be able to use some of the aspects of ours, that's, right now we've been concentrating on the industrial portion of this, and that's what this addresses, because that's where the development is more than likely to occur the fastest. This, to keep things moving, Kunkel right now has authorized a study and is themselves paying for it. So if we would decide tonight that we did not want to pay for it, they would put a halt to it, and Council obviously would be out that money at that point in time, but. So at $14,000, almost $15,000,
For all three
all three phases.
phases, yeah.
So the first phase was 6,
Tasks 1, 2, and 5, tasks 3 and 4 for phase 1, and phase 2 is later.
okay.
Is this recoverable cost?
This would be a TID expense. Questions, comments?
Do we have an idea of what the ceiling would be for an estimate on the improvement analysis?
14,782.
14,872.
That's what it should cost.
Yep.
You actually have no choice.
Well, we have a choice.
We have a choice.
Yeah.
We do have a choice.
There is a choice.
always
But I mean,
have a
if you want
choice.
access to the road, you have to play ball, and this is,
Is that 14 a hard number, or is that an estimate?
No, those are numbers in the quote that they signed.
Was it 14 what?
14,872.
I'll make a motion to authorize a traffic improvement analysis for the Leeds property, TID number 1, for a cost not to exceed $14,872.
Is there a second?
I second.
I heard Linda first.
Linda gets it. Today was on a roll, but,
I heard Linda.
Messing with my group there.
all right. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item B, discussion and necessary action on the purchase of a stump grinder attachment.
See, I lost my audience here. Just you guys left.
And everyone at home.
Yeah, I hear you.
Hi, Doug.
Yeah, Doug, Johnny. So, I don't know if you read through this a little bit, but budget workshops, you guys agreed to put $12,500 towards a stump grinder that attaches to both the excavator and our skid steer. So, the only little snafu here that probably is making it more of a discussion is that there is a heavy-duty mount that you can get for the skid steer, that if we go that route rather than the standard duty mount, you can see where I have over by $869. So the grand total of $13,369.70 compare, where we had $12,500 put away for it. So I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer if you guys can do that, just because this isn't something in 10 years we're going to replace. This is potentially something we maintain and will last the town 20 to 30 years. This is an attachment. It's a lot different than an engine running in a machine. This is just hydraulics. It has teeth on it you'd replace. It's relatively inexpensive parts that you would just maintain and replace. So I'd be asking for that extra $800 if it's possible.
Can I ask, is there a difference in the expected longevity if it's just the standard duty?
That's-
Or is it a difference in what the capacity is it can do at a given
No,
time?
it's just built stronger to last longer. I asked the same question. I'm like, what is this thing? I didn't know much about it, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have threw this in last year, and I apologize for that. But he said, yeah, it's just built a lot stronger, and it's made to last compared to something that probably, you get into a little rougher deal, and it might just twist or bend easier than a beefier unit. So something that might break on us that probably costs, maybe that much to fix.
56.
So, you do it now, and we got something that lasts us a long time.
Joe, one question I came up with
Yep.
was, it wasn't even to do with the grinder, it was the bracket, or the mount.
Yep.
If it is something that would break,
Yes.
to me, we could purchase a brand new one for less than what it would cost for the heavy duty one, if I'm doing my math
We
right.
could buy 2 standard mounts for the price of 1 heavy-duty mount. Actually, less than it. About 6.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you could get one more. Or yeah, well, what would the difference be? I guess. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Roughly.
$83, about $84 difference.
Yeah.
Cheaper to buy another
So you
one.
could have 2 standards over the years rather than one heavy duty.
As of today's cost.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Well, and do we think that, I mean, if one is gonna last more than double the time, then it is a cost savings
Yeah.
versus if the standard is only gonna last a fraction of that, then.
Ideally, I've had talks with Mike Lund, my foreman, just about this a little bit. He and I both kind of talked that majority of the time this would be used on the excavator, actually. Just because you sit up on the road, your arms out, it can go pretty far, 15 feet, and you can do it all. You don't have to be down in somebody's yard or in the right of way tearing it up with a skid steer. So majority of the time it will be on the excavator, so that's not even getting into this discussion. So with the standard duty, 2 standard duty mounts over 20 years, be all we need. And would one make it that far? I can't tell you that, unfortunately, but it is a possibility. And to just get in under budget slightly and go with the standard duty, I'm not against that. I just thought when I asked him what's the difference, it came down that he just said build stronger for longevity. That was the exact quote I got.
You brought us options we didn't know about back then. That's
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just looked at adding it up, and then I agree. But
I mean, I would even almost approve 2 mounts.
Yeah.
I guess if one breaks.
Yeah, I would. I guess.
And the heavy duty one could break too.
At the end of the day, if I saw pictures of both of them and I could tell you one's paper thin and the other one's, built to last, maybe that'd be a different discussion, but I can't say that. I don't know how much better it is. And it's okay. I'm fine with
if we
that.
gave you approval to purchase the standard duty one, and then you had a chance to go look at it and check it out and decided it wasn't enough, I mean, I think we'd entertain you coming back. I don't think
Okay.
that would be an issue.
Let's do that then. Yeah,
I
that
mean,
works.
is this like a modification that we're putting it on the excavator and it may twist, or I mean, is this something that's normally run on the excavator?
Oh yeah, I talked to Mequon. City of Mequon has one on their excavator. Love it. I mean, thousands of stumps because they just go nuts.
Do
with
they have the
trees.
heavy duty?
I was
or
gonna
the
say-
Well, the
The
excavator
excavator won't need
is,
that.
the excavator doesn't need it.
Oh.
What we're talking about is a mount that would go on a skid steer, our 4-tired little skid steer with a bucket, but it won't have a bucket. It'd have this on the front. The excavator is a one mount. There is no standard or heavy duty. That's just cut
Can
and
you
dry.
talk to any of those, the agents around here that you know?
I don't think City of Mequon has one for the skid steer. I mean, it's like a kit we're getting just to have two. Because Johnny, there's a lot of times he's going to use this in a park where a tree is way out there, and you're not going to drive a 40,000-pound excavator out there and possibly get stuck.
Correct.
So, but I'm okay with doing what you guys said. Let's go with that standard duty, and if I look at it like, whoa, this thing is garbage. But
Can you go and look at it at the place?
I should be able to, yeah. At least that or pictures or, talk to them a little more.
I guess I would make a motion to go with option 1 unless Joe, upon review, thinks we should go with the heavy duty, then we go with the heavy duty. Or we can buy 2, like you say,
We're
Mark.
making a motion, so what are you making a motion to do, Linda?
Just made one to do both.
Well, make a motion to go with option 1. If he thinks it's worth, upon review, then go with option 2.
Are you giving, is there a second?
No.
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion. All right. So what I was recommending is that we give him permission for option 1, and then if he changes his mind, he's got to come back. You're giving it, your motion stated that he gets
Yes.
to just make the decision on his own.
Exactly.
Which I trust Joe, don't get me wrong.
I trust Joe, yeah.
So you're,
Yeah. I would just do that, but I'm open.
okay, board?
Well, I too trust Joe, but I
But-
feel like we should keep the decision ultimately
Okay.
here.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
Reading that quote from LF George, Dan became kind of a good business friend with Dan over the years here, and he's taken care of us a lot. We bought a broom from him in the past. Always gives us very good pricing. He had the note he put in there, which I did talk to him. I just didn't read this and tell you that, but it says right there, the HD skid mount is recommended for better longevity. I'm giving you the option because the excavator is the primary use, so it's not necessary per se. And he said both will get the job done. So I mean, we'll go that route, and like you guys said, if it's scary looking, then we revisit this at another meeting.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so we need to vote on this. What do you do?
Can we make a modification to the motion?
I can make a modification to the motion that if,
Actually, we'll
We
probably.
technically should,
We'll have to
we
vote
have
it
to
down.
vote on this
Okay,
motion.
okay.
So if you, if you want to make another motion, we're going to have to vote no on this one. Or nay. So all in favor? Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Fails 5-0.
I make a motion that we have Joe purchase option 1 unless he gets there and he decides that it's not good quality. He comes back to the board.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
You want to put a dollar total on that? Or?
Oh, yeah, exceeding not more than $12,428.74.
Okay.
Is your head okay now, Mark?
Hey, Doug's number half dialed there for a second. All right, everybody good with that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Okay.
carries 5-0. Excellent. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Item C, discussion and necessary action to install a stop sign on Plainview Road and at Maple Avenue.
Like I said earlier, Gene and I had a little sit-down meeting with Judy, Jeremy, and Kelsey at the Village of Sussex last month, and just to kind of talk about this project that'll be taking place next year. A lot of utility work's getting done this year. It doesn't affect a whole lot of Lisbon residents necessarily, but anyways, that you'll start seeing that go on. But next year it'll get busy. But that being said, Grafe is their engineering, and they just brought this to us. I'll be honest, I was a little bit like, no,
Surprised.
right out of the box. Gina agreed with me. I think everybody's going to agree. I had an anonymous, which I know who he was, I'm not going to say his name, call today. I lived on Plainview, saw it on the agenda, had no interest in this, and he lives relatively close to that area. So it's all they wanted to do was add a stop sign on Plainview. Well, they could, like I say, no should, no required, no recommended. They did a traffic study, and for some reason, that's what they came with. A little turn lane on Plainview on the southbound side, to kick out, and then an acceleration lane, and then a stop sign there. But I plow that route. I've seen it in rush hour, both ends, early and end of the day, and it's never an issue. Maybe 10, 15 years down the road, who knows? But right now, we don't think it's needed. But we didn't want to just squash it without bringing it to you, so we can go to them and say, yeah, we don't want it.
Technically, this would go to the public safety committee.
Yeah, if we wanted to follow through with this.
This is how the normal process would be. I think timing was the issue.
Yeah, and we just want to keep rolling. And it gets squashed there, too, I'm almost certain. So.
Yeah, they don't care.
So
I'm not a proponent of stop signs. They create issues.
Well, I just don't understand why that would have even been the recommendation. I drive that road every day. There's no traffic there.
It
Why?
is odd.
It's just a random stop sign to me.
Yeah, without bringing them in here to give us their explanation, I don't have a good answer for you
I go there all the time generally from our house because we're right off Plainview Road. I don't think we need it.
It's not an issue there.
No.
I think.
No.
All right, that's what we wanted to hear, so perfect. I don't know if you need to do anything.
Do we need a
on that.
motion on that, or just? I suppose we do it all.
Yeah, just to make it official.
I'll make a motion that we do not put stop signs on Plainview Road at Maple Avenue.
I second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's a 5-0. All right. D, discussion and necessary action to carry over the 2019 road paving sinking fund to be used in 2020 to complete additional road paving projects.
So, I had a few things on my agenda to do this year, but nothing was, like I said in here, that catastrophic at the moment. And getting late in the year, and we had a big 3 years of paving, obviously. It just, I thought, instead of trying to do this and spending more money, we could just push this on to next year and save money and get more bang for our buck. Doing a bigger amount of roads that, I have ideas in my head. We don't need to get into that discussion now. That'll all come later in the year when we're going to start budgeting for next year. But instead of getting into that, the sinking fund, as you can see there, has a snowball balance, I'll just say, of $689,000. We add this on top and we get to $813,000. I'm not asking to spend all that next year. This is stuff we'll talk about later. That's what'll end up being in there, and I'll bring stuff to you guys that we can talk about at budget and see what we want to do, and then Mitch and I can go to work at, he'll do more of it, but getting bid, estimates ready, and then he can get something whipped up so we can go out to bid in early 2020. And the more we do, the better. It's just like buying sodas, You buy one, it's this much. You buy three, you get a deal. Same concept. So,
Is this something we would take care of now, or more towards the end of the year? early for next year.
You could do it now or later. You could
I think
postpone until
for
after
my
budget.
sake, I knew I was coming the night, and it was something to just because eventually a question would pop up like, "Are we paving any roads?" You know, so maybe just to make you guys aware of my game plan, and it makes more sense for the town. And, you know, we're in a good spot with what we did. We can't slack off like we've talked about, obviously, and I have a great crack filling plan that's going to get taking place this year, and we'll stay on top of that. But
And this money will stay in the fund
Right.
correct.
no matter what. So, I mean, do we even have to take action on this
No,
technically?
it was more of a,
Just informative.
yeah, before budget hits and.
Does anyone have an issue with this?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I had was, if we did make a motion to, I guess, move the sick even fund money to 2020, if we had an emergency that we needed to
Then we
correct,
can-
we'd have
Yeah.
to bring it back out and do a budget
Yeah,
amendment.
that's why I'd rather have you not take any action
We'll
right
just
now.
take general discussion as long as everyone's okay with this and leave it at that. Okay,
Perfect. All right, thank you.
sounds good. No action on D. Item E, discussion and necessary action to rescind the liquor license transfer agreement with the Village of Richfield. So I had a discussion with the president of Richfield this afternoon about this, to inform him that this was on the agenda and talk to him. He understands, and there's no hard feelings with his words. So we had requested a border agreement essentially with Richfield in exchange for the liquor license instead of the money. Border agreement in lieu of. Their board does not want to grant us a border agreement. I will tell you, they have the same attorneys as the Village of Sussex, so I'm sure that may have had something to do with it, but I can't speak for them because I'm not them, so.
Do they not want to grant us a border agreement in lieu of money? So not for the value of the license, or not want to grant us a border agreement?
I think both. And that is just from our discussion. I mean, I only had a discussion with the village president. Very nice man, don't get me wrong. We've been, you know, no issue there. But he did say that the border agreement is worth more than a liquor license. Okay. I would normally agree with that statement. We are at an agree to disagree point here because the Village of Richfield cannot annex over County Q. So that's out. They do not exercise extraterritorial jurisdiction, so that's no gain to them. They could, but they don't right now. So that's it. So the two major things that they can have, one they can't do, and the other one they don't do. So essentially, if we were to incorporate, they would get nothing now. And I did make that, and like, if we incorporate, you will not even get a liquor license then, because why would we give it up if we don't have to? You know, and I told them, as a town, we don't have much to offer a lot of people other than land and things like a liquor license. So this is what we could offer,
But if we did incorporate, we still could, as just a
well,
show
we
of good
could,
faith.
but we could, but
For
there would,
friendly.
you know, this is
actions.
a way to, they
Yeah.
get something, we get something kind of thing, and we didn't get anywhere with that. I mean, it essentially was an agree to disagree point at that stage, and they said it was good. It wasn't a bad conversation anyway. I don't want to make it sound negative here. It's just we didn't agree. Obviously, I have my feelings on why, and I don't know if they're true or not. But we do. I mean, one thing we have done for Richfield over a long time is we are their. I forgot how you word it, but they have a paramedic license through us essentially. So they would not have had that had it not been for us, which has a significant value. And we talked about that. He thanked us for it. He said he loves working with Lisbon and such, and we get along well. Not well enough for the border agreement, but I mean,
Well, not well enough for the border agreement on these terms.
right. I asked him what he want, and he said he doesn't know.
Okay.
He said there's really nothing at this point in time, I believe was the way he worded it. So I will tell you, he wishes us well. He made a point of saying that he wishes us well in the future, but the border agreement is out. So, and at that point, I said I would recommend to the board that we then rescind the offer on the liquor license at that point.
I mean, I think I probably agree with you on rescinding it because we don't have terms upon which to give it to them, and you're not just going to give it away. But I think that the conclusion for now is right, but I guess I would keep open the possibility of continuing to discuss that with them and different terms and finding out what terms they're interested in.
Technically, we made a motion to sell the license for $25,000.
Okay,
That was technically what we had done.
okay.
So this would be rescinding that at this point.
So it is
So-
contingent upon Richfield approving who gets it, and they haven't done that yet.
So, and that's gonna be Thursday.
Well, and there were concerns about their plan, about who was going to get it, and obviously they're being responsive to their constituents for why they don't want to do it. So, do we not feel, I'm just always, I would like to err on the side of showing good faith with another community and hoping that they would reciprocate that at some point in the future, and somebody has to hang out those olive branches when the time is. And so my question is, would we still be willing to sell them a liquor license that they may need for the amount of money they're willing to pay for it if there isn't such contingencies on it?
I am not, at this point.
The village actually wasn't going to be paying the town, it was the license holder. So the village isn't out anything.
And they don't have a license holder that they're currently prepared to give
They
it
do.
to.
Well, I don't know if they're prepared to give it to them.
Not-
They're having some discussion on that
Right.
right now.
They
I
have
think there's
somebody
some
that wants it,
Right?
but yeah, they don't know if they want to give it to them.
Right. So there may not be anyone to pay for it if we were willing to give it to them if it stays approved at this time. Right? So I mean, I think
It's not
that would be a
inaccurate.
reason.
They have somebody in mind, but whether or not they approve it, I don't know what the makeup of the board is on that right now.
I just would like to keep that olive branch there and open.
I think we have a pretty significant olive branch with the paramedic services that we've helped them get over the years though too. And I think we've worked with them quite well. I mean, there's really, I'm not trying to throw negative, I mean, this is a negative in my opinion, but it's not something that's gonna ruin our relationship by any means. I would say that would be extreme to say that. It's just, I thought of all the communities, if we were getting a border agreement with, Richfield was one that made the complete most sense because quite frankly, what they could exercise, they don't, and what they may want to do, they can't because of the current laws. So there's really no negative to them, in my opinion, for them to do a border agreement.
Other than if they think they can get more money and, obviously maybe we
Or-
don't know their budget. I don't know their budget. Maybe you do, but.
Or if the law were to change it, you could annex across county lines. That was brought up in the discussion. Because he did say at this time we cannot annex across county lines.
So
That's
maybe-
John Macy talking. I could almost hear John Macy's voice when that was said, to be quite honest, but.
But I wonder
So-
if there is an amount of money that would cause them to not be interested in looking at the future possibility of annexing across county lines, if that's their current reason. I think maybe that's a discussion to have.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I would make the motion to rescind the liquor license transfer agreement with the Village of Richfield. Is there a second?
I'll second it for the reason.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, what do we got left here?
have poor
Amy's treasurer quarterly report.
No, we have EF,
Assessment
Oh.
Town's
services.
assessment.
I'm
Sure.
sorry. Do you want to do your quarterly report and then that one, or you want to go right to F? You can take them in whatever order you'd like.
I can do it now if you want.
Okay.
Okay, so we did finish the audit and we've put in all the entries and we do balance, so that's good. And then the financial report, which is due Wednesday, is done and complete, which is important because it's like 1% for each business day that you're late, up to 10%, it can reduce your transportation aid, which would be like $33,000. So that's in, and we're paying off a loan also on the 15th. One of our ones with Waukesha State Bank that was originated in 2009 for $470,000. And as far as tax collection goes, we have everything received and distributed for settlements, just besides our August settlement. So we're expecting about $850,000 for that. And it'd be about $547,000 for the general fund, $303,000 for the debt. And then along with that is delinquent personal property tax. We, let's see, we wrote on $2,600 that we did not collect through taxes, that's up to us to collect. And since January 31st, we've collected 948. Let's see, 3 of them that are, there are 11, and 5 of them we collected, and 3 of the ones that are left are several years that they're owed. But I was able to charge back one of them that was about $1,000, and so that's like when, for like this year, we have until, we have to try and collect through the end of the year, and then if they don't pay, and then they're not on next year's tax roll, which we see on the assessment roll, we can charge back the county and school districts to get what we paid them back. So I was able to do that for one company, and we'll just only have to write off our portion, which is $243. And then, let's see. That's it for that.
And the correspondence we got earlier about the personal property tax money we received from the state, that replaces Amy having to track down people and charge them and do chargebacks. The state now takes care of it, so now we just get our money. So she's taken care of last year's.
Yeah. And then, going on to the revenue and expense. So now we're all caught up. So the P&L that you have is through March. And on mine, I added, which I'll have on it for next time, like how much, what percent has been spent compared to what the budget was. So like general government, the $231,000 that we spent of the 826 is 28%. So overall for our expenditures, we've spent 23%. So that's right around, you know, I think what we want being the first quarter. Revenues are at 6% collected or received, but that's mainly because your taxes you get mainly in the first quarter. Then nothing too surprising there. If anybody has any questions on those, we do have all of the detail too. So I don't know how much you guys want to see. Do you want it at this level? Do you want it
And we weren't sure.
line by
More.
line almost? But
I mean, we have the
Or-
full budget where it's at request also, correct? I mean, we can pull it up off the Excel sheet. Is it all entered in there? Like what we do during budget time, does the new accounting software keep up with that?
Oh,
or
yeah.
is it?
yeah, and I made a whole new spreadsheet too. It looks like, it's not in your packets, but this is it by detail. So it would be, these blue lines make
So-
up, you know, the, and I matched this to what the audit reports in the same categories. So it should be easy to compare the two going forward. But yeah, so we do have the detail if anybody needs anything. And then the last thing was just kind of where our investments are at. We had one of our treasury bills come due. We redeemed it on March 14th, and I just, last week or the week before, did do one more 6-month treasury bill, and then that way the 2 of those will come due pretty close, and then we can decide if we still want to do treasury bills or if CDs have the better rate at that time. And then as far as bank interest between the CDs and the savings and the treasury bills, we are at $31,874 for the first quarter, which is over half of what we earned all of 2018, 129% more than 2017. And so I was impressed to see that and glad that we were making more money this year.
Excellent. All right.
That's about it, I think.
Any questions on the quarterly?
Can I ask, can we get, like, for me, numbers and hearing it, I don't really
You want a
process
copy.
it as well?
You just want a copy of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what,
Is this not in there?
so you're talking the detailed one today,
Oh.
you're talking?
Any,
Talking the expenses?
yeah, the whole thing that Amy just reviewed, like, I would love to see that quarterly included in the packet.
The investments is in there, we just didn't put in the.
Where,
On the front side of it.
am I missing it? Where is it?
Keep going.
Probably because I was earlier on.
Page 27 and 28,
It's not all
up,
of it.
up on top.
Yeah. So
Okay,
that's-
I just wasn't in the right place.
Sorry.
Okay.
We just didn't put the detail in because we didn't know how much
Okay.
you wanted to see.
No, I just,
But you can get the detail at request if you'd
Yeah.
like it.
okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah, so you have that and I think this.
Yes, okay. No, that's fine. That's what I wanted. I just needed someone to hit me over the head and tell me to turn the page.
Okay.
I know, you're all
Mark's on it.
volunteering.
All right. And item F, discussion necessary action on the town's assessment services.
All right, I'll make this really quick. Our assessment contract with Grota Appraisals ends December 31st, 2019, and like I said earlier, Amy and I are already starting to work on budget. So in order to get a good number set for the budget, and we're not having to do RFPs late in the year, I would like the board to give me some direction on what they would like me to do, either go out for RFPs to other assessment companies, or just ask Grota for a contract extension. However, the additional piece to this is we need to do what's called a market reval. It's not a walkthrough, it's just based on sales, records, assessments, and that needs to be done because our assessment ratio has dropped to 87.85. And per the statutes, if you drop more than 10% in 5 years, you have to do it.
So the clock has essentially started.
It
Now, I'm
started.
just gonna partake in a little bit of discussion in here on that end of it, but I'm not going to vote on this as far as anything with Grota. My wife does work for Grota, so that portion I will not handle. In fact, Mark will handle that end of it that he just found out about right now. So, but the clock has started because we have fallen below that 10% threshold. So it's not that we have to do this immediately, but we
Maybe
will
next
have
year.
to do it.
2020, it has to be done,
So,
which then will be recognized on your 2021 values.
So again, it's not gonna be, it's just gonna be in recent valuations? It's not, they're not gonna go in each house?
No, that's very expensive.
I know.
Yeah. No, I was just
Is-
looking,
isn't it a 5-year clock?
5-year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if we just fell below in 18, so we'd have like 2020. I don't recommend waiting, but I mean, we could wait a little longer, I think, couldn't we?
I wouldn't.
Right, I don't recommend it, but I mean,
No.
you could.
Is there not still, we were carrying $30,000 over every year for the reassessment. So is it still in the carryovers or has it disappeared?
Didn't know we had that. How long has that been carried over for?
Oh, 10 years? No, when did we do the last one?
Your last walkthrough?
No, it was just, I don't think we did a walkthrough.
2013 was your last statistical reval.
Okay, in 2013, we put $30,000 aside as a
Oh.
carryover, but I don't know if that's still in the carryovers.
I don't know.
It would be in the general fund at that point. Then.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember
I'm sure
seeing
it's
it.
unassigned by now.
I
yeah.
don't remember seeing it assigned last year in the
Me neither.
budget workshop.
Mm-mm. That's the first I've heard of that.
Because we knew we'd have to do another reval.
Gina, can I ask you, how long was our current contract with Grota that is expiring December 31st?
5 years.
Sorry.
No, don't say.
Personally, I like the idea of competition and understanding what the market is currently asking for these services. And since we wouldn't have looked at that in 5 years, I feel like we should do an RFP to assessment services at various firms and find out what the variety of numbers come back with versus just a contract extension.
And we'll get 2 quotes, one for just regular contract, one for reval. But I don't
Right.
recommend splitting them if one's less than the other for a reval versus contract price. Just want you to see the difference in what the extra work would
Right.
be. Mhm.
I agree with that.
Yep.
Linda?
How many other communities does Grota work for as a,
No lot.
Pardon me?
He does a lot. I'd have to look in my purple Waukesha County book and tell you, but it's probably more than 2 hands worth that I can count on.
He's always done ours.
Mm-hmm.
Since we went to an outside firm.
Okay.
Well, and he may very well be the, contractor that would do it again. I'm not opposed to that. I just think we should put it out for an RFP to decide.
Do we have a price for an extension?
No, I didn't want to just ask him without asking you guys first. If you want to direct me just to get an extension cost, I can bring that back to the next meeting, and then we can discuss it. If you don't like that, then we can go to RFPs.
It's over 70 communities.
How many?
Really?
70.
Oh, I was just asking in the county. Did you ask state or county?
No, I just asked how many, generic.
Oh, I assumed you meant Waukesha County. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, he's got a number of communities.
I guess I'll throw it out there as of right now. I just asked for a current assessment extension and see what that comes back before I would take I would make any discussion on doing an RFP. That's mine.
I don't have a problem with getting that as a baseline to compare, but I still would be hesitant to adopt that.
We have enough time. I mean, it's
Yeah.
only May.
We do, but time goes fast, and sometimes these take a while. So there's a lot to compare.
I think sometimes it's good for competition. I guess I agree. Doesn't hurt,
It doesn't. I've got one ready to go.
do you?
Mm-hmm.
Can we set it over 2 weeks just to get the baseline answer? I don't have a problem.
When does his contract, it runs out in
December.
End of this year. We gotta get a number for 2020 budget. I
Yeah.
don't wanna be doing this at the last minute.
Exactly.
Because
What-
it's already mid-May. Oh my gosh.
Have they already started? I mean, this may take a while for GROTA appraisals. Or have they already started preparing an extension for us?
No,
No.
not yet. I haven't asked him to.
To come back in 2 weeks to discuss it, would it be unreasonable to ask for that from
I
them?
don't know. Mm-mm. They're used to that.
I guess
How
I would.
long of a contract extension are you talking about?
Yeah.
Is 5 years I guess I don't know the industry standard of extensions.
Usually
Then I
3
guess
or-
I would like to
usually
see
3
what
or
other,
5.
what other companies are offering. If
Do we
you're
know?
thinking
Well-
of 5.
Do we know when we first entered into contract with GROTA?
Gosh, a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
1998?
Donna's been gone a
9,
long time.
2000 maybe? Because Donna wasn't here long after I started, so I would say 1999.
My concern with extending that long too, without putting it out for an RFP, and maybe they're the only ones that return it, maybe, but is what if there is some new entity out there that is doing these that never even has a chance to be heard just because we have a long-standing and good relationship with someone, but, that's why it only lasts 5 years, is to kind of reevaluate that, and, maybe it's a cost
Yeah, I
savings,
don't know
maybe
if
it's not.
I don't remember if we ever sent it out for an RFP, I don't remember. We must have when Donna resigned or disappeared or whatever she did.
Left.
Yeah, left, departed.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with sending an RFP out.
All right, I'll make a motion that we send it out for an RFP.
I second.
Motion made, motion seconded. I forgot it was that. Any discussion?
Do we need to put something in there
Keep going. I think you're gonna say.
about the other part of it, that
Yep.
reassessment?
Well, that'll be in there
Okay.
as well, but the only other thing I need direction on is, do you want an RFP for a 3-year contract or a 5-year? Or do you want both numbers?
I think it doesn't hurt to get both, if,
Okay.
longevity sometimes will give a better price with the commitment.
That's true.
Well, we got that with our auditors.
I'll amend my
Yeah.
motion to ask that you send out an RFP for both terms.
I amend my second.
Perfect. Thank you.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Nay.
Do we need to give them a
Motion
deadline?
carries 3-1.
That usually gives about like 4 to 6 weeks
Okay.
to get it out to everybody.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything we missed?
I don't think so.
Is that it?
Covered a
Went
lot
quicker
today.
than I thought it was going to go. Item 11, adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are out at 8:01.
Nobody leave, we have a lot of stuff to sign, please.
Before I
pen ready.
left for my work
And
trips,
can you,
you and I were in sync on a lot of things we were agreeing to. I feel like we agree on nothing anymore.